Hello. So today I'm going to be walking you guys through how we created our song Obscurity off of our new EP Precognition by Entelechy. So sonically, we did take a lot of inspiration from Portishead Cowboys. We wanted to have that same feel of like a Western trip hop tune. And aesthetically, we wanted it to be black and white, kind of like you're watching a black and white film or show. And so today I'm just going to describe the elements and break down the song just a bit on like what we did, samples, bass, guitar, etc. And then our mixing master engineer.
The stems were actually pretty good to work with for this. Not that the other ones weren't, but I think this was after I gave a couple of little bits of advice to Leah.
Jordan's just going to break down how he made our tune come to life. So very grateful for that and hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, let's get into it. So let me get into the stems. So this is how the intro starts. So that's the beginning 10 seconds, I believe. Yeah. So what we have at the beginning of that is this sample that we found on Splice, and it goes like. And we felt like that was a sort of haunting, bluesy, westerny type feel. So we started with that. And then we get into this, where the bass is dropping. And with that, it is another sample. It is a, I believe it's a cello sample, just a upright bass sample. So it just sounded really good. So we just combined that together. What else do we have? We also have vinyl crackle, of course. And this is just a record scratch sample. So that's it for the beginning parts. So then it's all just. Then we get into the verse. All the time you spend staying so far away from me. You see feeling is not some obscurity in your eyes. Okay, so let me get into what we're doing here. So I have my vocals going, and that is like, I turn them down and I have them to the left just a bit over here just to kind of fill out everything that's going on in here that I'll get into. So I have a lot of vocal comp. So disregard, it says Austin. I just didn't change the name right there. But I usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only have 5 for this, but per song, it's kind of, I do usually use a lot. So it goes. The time you spent staying so far away. I'm gonna let him do it. You see feeling obscurity in your eyes. So I have a few melodies going on. I don't really know. I'm not too versed in that. I just go off of ear. So I'll start off with like a lower all the time, and then, or I guess I was high, whatever, but I'll start off with something like that, just a baseline vocal, and then I'll just go up and down off of that every time I press record. I'm just like, well, hoping for the best. So I just have that, and then Austin's vocals are turned down a bit, but they're more centered, and he only has 4, so he's going. All the time you spend staying so far away from me. you see feeling is not some obscurity in your eyes.
So I stuck Austin just slightly off centre to the left, Leah slightly off centre to the right. More of a rounded vocal rather than just being completely central. We've got some of it central, but yeah.
So we have that, and then we drop out the bass. Oh no, we still have the upright bass sample going.
Didn't need to do any EQ on the bass, the sample bass. Anyway.
Oh, let me get into the guitar. So what the guitar is doing right here is and I believe I have like a auto pan tremolo going, so it's like going around. So that's what's happening there. Everything else is still basically the same as the intro. So then we get into this other part. Same verse still. So this part, as we're reaching the chorus, we have another sample. That we have a few samples going on here. So we have this whistle that, emulates that, perfectly encapsulates, I believe, the Western. So my bad. That's the vocal sample that we have going on. I'll play that. There's a fire inside me. I wanna burn for you tonight. Beautiful. Then here's the whistle. And my favorite thing to do for effects, for a lot of samples, and even for a lot of vocal comping, I'm notorious for using a lot of reverb. Let's start with that. But I love this telephone vocal that Ableton has. So without it, it would just be. And in my opinion, it's very sharp. Like, it's very sharp to my ear. I don't know how to describe it, but with the telephone vocal, just makes it sound like, you're on the phone. Now I have a car garage going because I also love, like, if I'm not using stereotypical reverb in Ableton, I like the car garage effect because it makes it sound like you're listening to something, or if you're at a band's concert and you're listening to them sound check. It's just like, that's just how I can describe it the best of my ability, but it's obviously emulating the sound of a car playing music in a garage. Just that reverb. So anyway, to continue. So just have that. My bass. So my bass part actually does drop in during the chorus. So what I have going on is. And I do have warm-up lows going on right there in a chorus bass. Do I have anything on it? Yeah, so that's like for the whole group. I have that going on. And how I did this was... Oh, and a saturator, of course. Always need that. But for two of these, the ones going down the center, I actually had it plugged into my Fender Rumble amp, into my Volt interface, into this. Because I just wanted that authentic bass. Boom! So, did that.
As far as the main bass, the actual live played bass, I assume DI'd, don't know, but it sounds like it's DI'd. I just took a little bit out of the bottom end just because it was just taking up quite a lot of space. So if we just solo it, we can see by looking at where the waves are, it's quite low end heavy anyway. I mean, it's a basic guitar, but just needed a little bit taken out of it. And also what I wanted to achieve is get it as close to the sample base as possible so there wasn't a massive disparity when we went from the verse into the chorus. So if we just So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't too much difference.
The guitar for that part is just doing. So yeah.
As far as the sample in the chorus, we've got some parallel stuff happening here. So we've got parallel reverb, reasonable amount here on a 3-second delay, 3.5 actually. So 3.5 second decay. Delay, whichever you want to call it. Decay is probably the right way to call it. So we've got 3.5 second reverb, just placed on those vocals. We've got a little bit of echo as well. I think it's a quarter note echo. So we've got a quarter note echo on these chorus vocals here. And we've also scooped just a little bit out of the middle. I think we're just oversaturating again, but yeah, we can see we've got quite a lot going on in the actual sample in between the 500 and 800 hertz region. Now the reverb just gives it a nice wider sound. And then we've got the echo that just kind of gives it a little bit of a tail, but it's not over intrusive. So there's a little tail there, it's not over intrusive, but what you get is that sample really filling out that chorus. As far as the whistle is concerned, nothing was really done to the whistle, we just treated the whistle like the vocal. So we're just essentially occupying a similar kind of space with the whistle like we did with the vocals, kind of just to blend them as one. If we wanted to kind of like there's one person next to the dude giving it a little bit of whistle. Now, as far as the drums are concerned, normally I like to add a little bit of overdrive. I believe these were already, so I think these were after I gave a little bit of advice on overdrive. But as far as the EQ is concerned, they're quite low, quite heavy, low, so I dropped quite a lot of the lower end frequencies just out of them, just to avoid the actual rumble. So you can see from the EQ analyzer, we can see there was a lot going on down at the bottom, so we just scooped that down, just so I have a little bit more of a cleaner kick. Drop the snare slightly, just after the 1k hertz, just so it's not spiky. Stuck a little bit of parallel reverb on it. It's not a great bit on the edges in here, but again, it just gives a little bit more width to the drums.
And then we reach this part, kind of like a little breakdown. And for this, we have like a siren-y vocal sample going, and she is just going to the left. Yep, so then we hit the second verse. And that is, so we just have Austin's vocal.
Wheel of judgment
turning in favor for me. So, kind of like that first, first verse. It's just everything going. So then we reach this second chorus part, and we still have this going. We have that sample back, that original intro sample. Just like, I wanna go. Yeah. Oh, this part coming up is my favorite part. So what we had Austin do for this upcoming part was he pulled out his slide and he did what he could do best, like emulating Derek Trucks. So I love that part. So we had him pull out the slide because, of course, it would give it that Western feel, the Western slide feel. So we did that. And what's going on behind the slide is, I believe the guitar is still just doing that atmospheric. And then the bass sample is back. And we got the drums. Anything going on up here? No. So we do have the siren vocals still kind of going on, but they're fading. Oops, they're fading. And all together.
Guitar, nope. So nothing on the guitar, we just controlled the levels of that. Slide solo, gave it a little bit of a eighth note echo. It's only a lot. I didn't want it to be over intrusive because Austin's guitar will be how Austin wants it to sound. It was more just making it sound nicer and blended in the mix. So if we just isolate that, and we'll just go to play this section. So there's not a great deal there. The reverb is really making it just sound a little bit wider, really. As far as we've got a little bit of panning, with a little bit of panning to the right with the effects in the chorus. And we got a little pan right on that intro, really. And then, other than that, I don't think we've got a lot, really. We've got a couple of little bits of parallel reverb, and the key thing, really, on top of just making, that's just managing each individual sound. Then what we just want to be doing is controlling the dynamics, really. So we want to make sure that we've got clear, distinct kind of impacts in dynamic between the verse, the chorus, and its preceding sections in whatever order that may be. I think we've got verse, chorus, verse, end, but like solo, isn't it? So we've got solo at the end. So essentially, we can see that if we just look at the drum volume here, we've got 5.5 dB, and we're just pushing it slightly to 6. There's very little difference there. As we can see, we've got a centralized guitar in the verse, and then we push it. You can see from the actual transients that it's a louder guitar anyway in the chorus, but we've got a little bit of panning to the left. That is then just making sure that we have a more wider kind of. So we go in very central in the verses, and then when we start going into the chorus, we start spreading the actual volume, the mix wider slightly, just so we go from a really centralized point, and then when we come into the actual chorus, it opens up. It feels like it's opening up a little bit more. We give a little bit of a boost to the drums. We open the guitar up by panning it ever so slightly to the left, which then goes for the pluck effects to the right, just to give it that width. And then the vinyl crackle just goes on throughout it. But it's mainly just managing the actual effects. One of the things that I had to do just with the way that the stems were given is how it was originally. If we just drag this along, there's a really loud exit to the chorus with, it's like it sounds like a breath, but it's acting like the opposite to a riser. So if we go from the chorus, so it was really, so rather than, and also we have a snare that we would lose by bringing that down, so sorted that out. So I chopped a snare just from later on into the actual sample of the loop, brought that to where the snare should be, and then just EQ'd, chopped down, made sure that we're not losing anything, so that the breathy kind of opposite riser, reverse riser, whatever you want to call it, when it's coming out of the chorus isn't so intrusive, but we also don't lose the snare, so that's the only other thing really. And that is it for Obscurity. Just zoom out. Yeah, I think that's it. Nice and easy. Not too much changes. Just balancing out the width, the mix. Got a stereo spread on there, just in master, and making sure that the maximum output is no greater than -10 lufs. Other than that, Robert, your dad's brother.
And so once everything was in totality, to the best of my ability, because I'm not great at completely mastering, I can do the mixing in regards to trying to get the volumes the way I would want them to be, but in this experience of creating our EP, I have definitely realized the importance of a great mix. So I'm very grateful for Jordan to master our EP, because I listen to our stuff now versus our original releases, and I'm like, oh wow. Never underestimate a great mix. So yeah, that was everything on how we created Obscurity. Honestly, this EP was really, really, really fun to come up with. It was really a pleasure, and I can't wait for what's to come. Can't wait for Jordan to mix and master our other releases and stuff. And yeah, check him out, check us out. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, like and subscribe, or what those YouTubers say.